episode. So we're hitting an upper day today. And while I was on the way to the gym, went to a gas station to grab a Rice Krispie treat for my pre-workout meal. And there was this absolute behemoth of a human. And this guy was the size of 3 people. And I've learned to have a lot more empathy towards people that are a lot bigger, because I've come to understand that food addiction, being addicted to food, is a very real thing. It's an actual concept. It's something that I struggled with understanding, as I thought it was discipline, or it's just someone that lacks discipline. And to some extent, I think that's real. However, the concept of addiction to food is very real. Because food is something that makes you happy. It keeps us happy. It spikes our dopamine, gives us serotonin. I think it should be enjoyed. However, there's people that push that and take it too far, and that's how we have 75% of America that's overweight. But there is this absolute, humongous human, at least the size of 3 people. And at some point, you have to ask yourself, why are you doing this to yourself? I can say this guy, couldn't walk properly, he was waddling like a penguin, and they were out of extra large cups for the slushies in the racetrack. And he was asking for this double gulp, whatever. It's like, dude, you don't need a double gulp slushie to shovel down an extra 3,000 calories of sugar. At some point you have to get to that realization. So he settles with 2 large cups, grabs 2 cases of full sugar Coke with a bunch of candy and chips and whatever. And it's just, at some point you have to get to that realization yourself, is, what do I want out of this life? And I have a hard time imagining what someone wants out of their life is to remain a 400 to 500 pound human who's going to struggle with moving when they're 50. It's sad, really, honestly. To see people going down that path, especially someone who's working with people who are bettering themselves. Some people truly are just a sinking ship. There's no way to help them. There's so much. We live in a world of information. You have it you have it on your fingertips. This thing can help you. This thing can save your life, or it can ruin your life. And some guy can easily figure out, hey, how do I become healthier? I promise you, if I type that into Google, you're going to get some contradicting information. But at the end of the day, the consensus is going to be, get into a calorie deficit, eat a little healthier, drink some more water, move around more. That advice is basic. It'll help 99% of people. But even that is too difficult for people to follow. And it comes to the point of, some people just don't want it. That's hard for me to understand. So in my journey of working with different people, especially with morbidly obese guys, I've had to understand what makes someone tick, what makes someone actually change. What gets someone to the point of realizing, okay, the life I'm living at 300 pounds, 400 pounds, the life I'm living addicted to porn, the life I'm living jerking off, smoking weed, whatever. How can I get someone to the point where they realize that isn't them operating at their highest level? That's not their highest self. And this is why I have such a problem with body positivity, because it preaches to love yourself, and that's fine. I understand that. Love yourself. However, the problem is, in my opinion, you need something to push you out of your current situation. If you are morbidly obese, loving yourself probably isn't the most helpful thing isn't the most useful thing that you can do. Loving yourself, if you love yourself in that situation, you probably don't want to change anything. If you don't want to change anything, well, the situation stays the exact same. So that's where it becomes idiotic, to where you're preaching to love yourself. However, you're in a terrible situation that could potentially have deadly effects, have really bad effects when you're older. So preaching this, love yourself, love your situation, no matter what, it becomes harmful. Now, you need something to drive you out. You need a why. Most of the time, that why has to be more important and has to be more significant than the pain that you're going to experience getting out of your current situation. So, for example, I absolutely hated when I was morbidly obese. You know, I used to get bullied. I was addicted to porn. I didn't make any money. It was just terrible. I had a terrible life. Even when I lost the weight, yeah, it wasn't my full transformation. And me losing the weight was just the beginning of me choosing a healthier version of myself. And a healthier version of yourself isn't just physical, it's mental, it's spiritual. It's an entire identity. Sure, I had the physical aspect. I had abs, you know, I had the biceps, you know, but mentally I wasn't where I needed to be. Spiritually, I was nowhere near with God. So I had to hate that current version of myself in order for the newer version of myself to bloom. And that is the core problem of the current society preaching body positivity and love yourself at any size. And it doesn't work. You need some amount of self-hatred. You just need it. If you love yourself indirectly, you're okay with where you're at. There's no reason to change. In order for a reason to develop for you to change, you must carry some sort of self-hatred. Ultimately, that is my problem with this idea of loving yourself, is that it promotes mediocrity. It promotes wanting to stay the same. It's gotta hurt. No one makes a major life change. No one makes a huge lifestyle change. Nobody gets rich. Nobody gets closer to God without having a breaking moment, without having hatred towards their old version of themselves. It's gotta hurt. There's no way around it. It's just like growing your bicep or growing your chest or growing your shoulders. It hurts. That's the only way it's gonna happen. If I sat here and I just lifted a bunch of 10-pound weights and called it a day, I'm not gonna grow. There's no way. But how do you actually find that why? How do you actually get yourself to the point of saying, this matters more than my old life? A lot of that is on you to figure out, but we already talked about it. Finding something that you value more and are willing to suffer for. But how do you actually find that thing? What is that for you? A lot of people, a future life is their why. Now, you got an advantage if you have more people in your life. So if you're a husband, if you're a wife, if you have people that depend on you, you do it for them. For example, one of my clients had 2 daughters and he tried losing weight before, like 5 or 6 times, and he failed every time. Why? Because the why that he was focusing on, the only thing he had in his head was, I need to lose weight because I want to be healthier. It's not really that good of a reason. As soon as we shifted his reason into, I need to get healthier for my 2 daughters. I want to be able to play with them for a longer than 10 minutes without getting out of breath. I want to be able to chase them around. It clicked. That same exact thing needs to happen for you. Whether it's regarding you making money, whether it's regarding you getting closer to God, whether it's regarding you getting bigger, losing weight, finding something that you're willing to suffer for. I think ultimately I can't help but think back at the time where I pretty much hated my entire existence, and yes, would I felt better if someone was to tell me, oh no, just love yourself, you don't need to change, oh no, you're okay. I can't help but think that I would have stayed the same. And if I would have stayed the same, I don't think I would have been alive. That's what a lot of body positivity has turned out to, is promoting death, really. You know, it started out as something where it would make paraplegics, blind people, deaf people feel included, which is great. However, it is now turned into this skinny shaming, fat positive, embrace every identity and whatever. And it has ruined the essence of humanity. Us as humans have been put on this place to become better. We've come here to procreate. You come here to pass our values down to our children. Ultimately, if you're Christian, if you're not Christian, you got to operate under something other than emotion. We are supposed to improve what we've been given. We're supposed to put ourselves into the best possible position financially, spiritually, physically. Are you truly doing that? If you sit there and tell yourself that you don't need to change and you love yourself, I don't think so. I don't think you can. So when I see people get online and screaming about this, embrace yourself and it's okay to be fat, and now I see women getting on of, being fat to go against the patriarchy or whatever. And it's stupid. You're killing yourself is what you're doing. You're killing yourself. And me as a fitness coach, or as someone who literally came from that, it's truly a sight to see that people embrace their fat self. I think you ultimately have two choices: is to embrace the subpar version of yourself and come to terms with the fact that you're gonna die in a fat body, in a subpar human body, not being able to achieve what you were meant to, what you were put on this earth to do, physically at least. I don't believe someone's born to be fat. There's no way. There's no way you're born to be unhealthy. There's no way you're born to violate your temple. And that's what you're doing when you're fat, Same thing when you're drinking alcohol. Same thing when you're smoking weed. Same thing when you're addicted. Porn, whatever. All of these things damage our temple. If you're a Christian, you believe that the Holy Spirit resides in you. And if the Holy Spirit resides in us, why would we not keep our temple healthy? Why would we not keep our temple holy? Why would we not keep our mind, our body, our spirit away from the things that are hurting them, away from alcohol, away from weed, away from porn, away from greasy BS food that keeps us fat? So when I see people embracing their subpar self, can't help but think, what's going to come of society in a year, in 2 years? If you go to the gym, I think you're part of the 1% of people that go. And I think people that go to the gym put themselves into this almost tunnel of all the people that go to the gym. So it seems like a lot of people actually in the gym. But then when you look at the general population, the general society, it's like 1% of people are in the gym. And out of that 1% of people, who's actually consistent? Because you go to the gym, majority of people are fat. Majority of people don't have good physiques. Majority of people, they've been working out for years, but they still look the same. So out of the 0.01% of people that take it seriously, we get into this sphere of, oh no, everybody goes to the gym, but that's not the truth. 10 years from now, we're turning into WALL-E, really, Look at everyone's, you go to Walmart, go to Target, those little scooters that people ride around, you see humans that truly shouldn't be that size. And it's so sad. Our society's more addicted than ever. Our society's more addicted to food, more addicted to porn, more addicted to weed. Oh my God, I think like over 50% of Americans have used OnlyFans, bought OnlyFans content. Seeing where society is headed is not just physically, but mentally, spiritually. Makes you think. I'm looking at myself with this physique and thinking about, God, what I used to look like before, man. I was told I was going to die by a doctor. To think of what I came from to what I am now. And all I can think of is, what if someone would have told me, no, love yourself. No, you should stay the same. And I listened. Well, not only would I not have, in my opinion, a great physique, I want to be healthy. I don't have any of the opportunities that I have now. Oh my God, I would hate myself. I believe that this entire love yourself thing is cope.
It's just cope for undisciplined, lazy people. Sure, they have food addictions. Sure, they have outside struggles. Absolutely. However, at the end of the day, nothing changes if nothing changes. 99% of the time, your future is in your hands. 99.9% of the times, the people who actually do something about it will change. And when I mean doing something about it, I don't mean trying for a week, failing, trying for a month, failing. Man, I failed over and over and over and over and over and over. I failed for years. The physique I have now, the way I talk now, this is just an accumulation of failure. I'm just a big fucking failure here. But through my failures, I got better. Through my failures, I improved. If you think about it, everyone who's great is just a culmination of all of their failures. It's what they are. We're just all our failures put into one. Yes, there's some success. Majority of the time, it's our failures. So if you take one thing is fail more. Fail more. It's okay to fail. It's okay to try and fail. What's not okay is not trying. It's not okay to want to say mediocre. I'm tired of pretending it is. It is not okay to want to be fat. That's what's not okay. I'd rather you try and fail than sit there and cry about your situation knowing that you haven't tried. At the end of the day, you're going to get to your deathbed. And when you're there, you're going to see all your dreams and aspirations standing around you. It's up to you to make sure the number of dreams and aspirations standing around you, looking over, looking down at you, are minimized.